Hello peeps, it's a hillbilly Harford. How are you today? And today we're going to do a video about the pensioners having their heating allowance taken off them and where that money is going and how the country's going to collapse if we don't take that money off them poor pensioners who vote not for Labour, eh? That's what it's all about. These people are taking their money off. The only reason they're taking their money off them is spite, because they didn't vote Labour. Them older people throughout their life, most of them have voted the other way. And that's the only reason. So let's get going. I'll show you a little video of one of the top civil servants explaining about his 5,000 hotel rooms constantly being paid for that are empty, that we can't put homeless in because they're only on standby for migrants. So let's get going. I got to say this as usual, the content in this video is intended for comedic purposes only. The views expressed in the video are not to be taken as factual information or a representation of my personal beliefs. I am critically reviewing the info and videos I show as examples in all my videos. So please comment and rate and subscribe and share this stuff out there, because it helps the channel. Now then, to look after all these cowboys and Indians that are coming in, this is how much it's costing our country per day. £15 million per day. Yes, I said that correctly. All this when our elderly pensioners are worrying themselves sick how they'll keep warm this winter. It is an absolute disgrace. The total amount spent on hotels and support for asylum seekers ballooned to $5.4 billion in 23 to 24. A huge overspend in the Home Office's £1 billion budget for asylum support, resettlement and accommodation. Labour analysis of Treasury figures suggest this total took spending on hotels and support to $15 million a day, far more than the $8 million a day estimated in September. So that's £5,400 million that they're spending on these cowboys and Indians coming in. More than, we've only got 250,000 soldiers, less than that in our army, and there's 1.3 million of these cowboys and Indians come in last year. That should tell you something. Importing warriors into our own country. So let's go a bit further on forward now. So this guy here is very high up civil servant who's been interviewed in Parliament the other day by a Labour MP, and he's admitting that they have 5,000 hotels empty all the time, being paid for across the UK, throughout England and Wales and Scotland, that they put these people in, and it's costing £15 million per day. Now, what he says here, he doesn't say here, is that we could stop homelessness in the UK instantly if they allowed all these houses to be used for helping the UK homeless. There would be no homelessness in the UK instantly if they spent that money on that, or our elderly. So let's listen to this clanker. This is a perfect example of a civil service clanker.
To accommodation, we have kind of got two things in place. The first is a number of beds that we're calling ring-fenced hotels, where we can move people quickly, if you like, as an overflow from Manston before coming out into the permanent, the more permanent estate. And then secondly, we're making sure we've got a buffer of as close to 5,000 beds as we can have, so that we've always got an outflow. So we're carrying a large number of empty beds in order to let us move people out. But then crucially...
Sorry, can I just stop you there? So these 5,000 beds that you're keeping empty just in case, these are additional hotel beds, are they? In the southeast?
Across the country. But because we've got to have, because it's unpredictable, as you said, 1,300 people.
They're hotel. Just to be clear, they're hotel rooms. They're not Nightingale hospitals or barges, they're hotel rooms.
They're hotel rooms with beds.
You've got 5,000 beds available in case you have a huge number of people coming through Manston.
Yeah, so we've aimed to have a buffer there. It is less than that at the moment because an awful lot of people arrived over the weekend.
So his excuse is there's less than that because thousands came over that day. So what they do then is they keep them in them houses for a week or two, and then they cluck them off into the normal society. That's what's happening, people. We're having boatloads of cowboys and Indians, more than our armies, being just left randomly to go afterwards. These people are doing this. These clankers are doing this to our country. They're destroying our country, and they just got hatred for people who don't vote a certain way. They have a hatred. That's what they're doing to these elderly with winter fuel payment. They've got a hatred for them because they think they voted Conservative or Reform. That's what it's all about. It's nothing else, because it's a little bit of money, really. So let's go and have a look what they are spending it on. So this is this lady here, Powell. She says, UK economic crash if winter fuel payment was not axed, Powell says. So we're giving $3 billion to Ukraine, $11.6 billion to African climate aid, $8.6 billion to GB Energy, $10 billion on public sector wage hikes, $8.2 billion on non-UK citizens claiming benefit, totaling $41.4 billion. $1.6 billion is the pensioners' fuel allowance. So look at the above there. So 1.6 billion would cause an economic crash, but all them billions above aren't. And I've just put some other figures on here as well, my own figures that I know are right. Climate Fund in Wales, 4.8 billion. Climate Fund in Scotland, 4.7 billion. Climate Fund in England, 25 billion plus. So once you see this in figures, you realise this is all bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They are picking on these pensioners because they think they didn't vote for them. That's what it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. If you vote for this lot again, you want your head examined. Now, I picked this tweet out the other day, and I thought, this is what is happening to the UK also. Because if you think about it, London is never going to be Conservative ever again. I don't suppose Birmingham is. There's certain cities now that are having immigration forced them in such massive numbers. They are changing the voting structure of the whole country. Now listen to this. This is Elon Musk talking about America. The publicly stated goal by almost all leaders of the Democrat Party is to legalize the 15 million illegal migrants as soon as possible, as well as bringing in tens of millions more. That would immediately make all swing states deep blue. So that would mean like Labour. Just like happened in California with 1986 amnesty, turning America into a permanent one-party state. This is the last real election if Trump loses. Now, he is correct here. That is what is happening all over the EU and in the UK. They are importing voters that will only vote for their side. Like this happened in London. Because in my lifetime, in my younger years, London was Conservative or Labour. It used to change hands. Now it hasn't been Conservatives for 20 years probably. And it never will be again. Because they've imported the cowboys and Indians in there to change the voting structure. It's a voting scam. And when will people see this? I don't understand it. Now, this is Conor McGregor. I haven't got a lot of time for the guy, to be honest, but he's given up fighting now. He's got multi-million pounds. And this is what he said. He's considering being the president of Ireland because they're having such problems there. And boy, he would shake things up. They do need people like this in there to knock this lot all to bits. So Conor McGregor, as president, I hold the power to summon the Dáil as well as dissolve it. So as I said before, I would have all the answers the people of Ireland seek from these thieves of the working man, these disruptors of the family unit, these destructors of small businesses, and on and on and on. These charlatans in their positions of power would be summoned to answer to the people of Ireland, and I would have it done by the end of day one, or I would be left with no choice but to dissolve the Dáil entirely. Stop the train until the people of Ireland deserve the answers they seek, point blank. This would be my power as president. I know very well Ireland needs an active president employed wholly by the people of Ireland. It is me. I'm the only logical choice. 2025 is upcoming. Tell you what, this guy could win. He's one of them really popular people. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe in everything he does or anything like that, but we need disruptors like this guy to get in there and boot people around and get them to do stuff that the people want, not what these civil servants want, because we're being ruled by WEF members, and you know what, we all know what's going on here. We all know what's going on. We don't need we need people who are willing to stick up to themselves and force people to do stuff that we need to do. And we need to stop a lot of this mass immigration because they're trying to alter voting structures in the countries. Now, this was quite an interesting one. I saw this the other day on some video or other, and this is the crime index by city 2024 mid-year. So these are the most dangerous places in the world. So look on the top there. South Africa, Venezuela, Papua New Guinea, South Africa. So they're saying the little areas in the country. So South Africa is the worst, right? So that's number one. Let's go down here. Mexico, Algiers, United States, Baltimore. So let's see where some of the UK places are. What's the most dangerous places ever, right? Number 30 is Bradford, United Kingdom. Only number 30. Number 41 is Coventry. Number 46 is Birmingham. Do you think this might coincide with the Cowboys and Indians being moved into these areas? I wonder. Now, this is quite striking, isn't it? So, this is the UK. We're only a small little country compared to these. So, it's absolutely crazy. At number 30, Mexico City is below Bradford. New Orleans is below Bradford. Puerto Rico is below Bradford. Chicago, Marseille, France. It's absolutely nuts. Manila, the Philippines, is below Coventry. Oh my God. Cultural enrichment. Now here we are, something else you don't see in the normal news. All these nurses and doctors are coming across in these boats. The Nursing Midwifery Council are unable to rescind the nurses' membership to its register until after a hearing. They can't suspend them. They continue to treat patients. A lot of these nurses aren't even qualified. NHS nurses being investigated for industrial scale qualification fraud. Scam involves more than 700 health care workers who use proxies to pass tests in Nigeria, enabling them to work in the UK. So lots of these nurses and doctors coming across on the boats aren't even qualified. I'm more qualified. It's crazy what's happening in the UK. The only way to sort this out, I am no member of no party whatsoever. I never will be. But look at this. Look at these numbers on here. These are the membership numbers of the parties in the UK. And if you look down there, Reform have got up to 65,000. So they're above the Green Party, Plaid Cymru, Scottish, all that lot. They're getting pretty close to the Liberal Democrats and the Scottish National Party. So Reform UK, there's lots of problems with some of them. Don't get me wrong. But that is the only way to solve this problem. Because you need to vote people in that are going to do some of what you want. They won't do all of what you want, but some of what you want. We know that. Normal people are starting to see this because of the things I've just shown before. So that is the video for today. We have got this dead cat story really today where they're making this big deal about cutting pensioners' money. Now what they'll do, they'll say, oh, we've given him a slight rise, so we're cutting this money. He's just picking on pensioners because they didn't vote for him. That is what they're doing. They're vindictive bastards. This is what's going on. We all know it. This guy, I got to be honest with you, I've said this in previous videos. I'm not very happy. Corbyn, when he came in, I don't believe in much of what he said, but he had some balls. Lots of the people that follow him are anti-Semitic. I want none of that. But at least you knew what you got with him. This guy Starmer is a charlatan. He will do anything. He is basically a civil service shrill being told what to do. They are using him like they used the Democrat dummy Biden. Now, at least with Corbyn, you got what you said on the tin. And he said what he was going to do. He said he hated these things or he followed these people. I don't like the people who follow him. I didn't like any of that thing. 50% of what he said I thought was bullshit. But you knew what he stood for. This guy didn't stand for nothing. He's one of them really dangerous people who will do anything to stay where he is. So that's the video for today. I've rambled on a bit today, but it's windy outside and I thought this needed to be said. We are getting to spending billions and billions on billions on the cowboys and Indians coming in, and it's costing us all 40,000 each per person in the UK, and we can't even keep our elderly warm. In the last years, I even heard on the Jeremy Viles show this morning how one of them was saying, oh, the young, why don't they give it to the young? The young are perfectly healthy. They've got their whole life ahead of them. When you get to a certain age, when you get to 60 or 70, your body is falling apart. You can't go anywhere. Your life is going to shit rags. I know it myself. When you hit 50, you're starting to get aches and pains. When you hit 60 to 70, your life slows down. When you get older than that, my God. We all know it. I looked after my father like that. You're cold all the time because your blood's thinner. The younger generation do not seem to understand this. You've got your whole life ahead of you, and the only reason you're feeling depressed is because you're listening to this bullshit on telly keeping you frightened all the time. Get out of it. Get out of that zone. Leave mainstream media. Come and listen to the hillbilly halfwit and hear some truth about it all. Okay, please comment, rate, subscribe, and share. All the best, guys.